All right, we're back. So I have Dr. Roger here with me. We're at ChiroFest 2019. Thanks, Paul Reed, for putting on such a dynamic event. This is a co-branded one here. Point to it for me, Roger. There it is. Yeah, local gold. If you guys need digital strategies, websites, and marketing, reach out to Natalie. And this is Chiro Hustle coming live from the Pacific Northwest, which is Vancouver, Washington. But before we jump into this, let's say a couple nice words to Paul Reed for bringing us all together.
Yeah, Paul Reed, you are one gracious individual. Right, I'm holding this thing, right?
I don't let anybody do this.
All right, well, I'm taking control of this mic. All right, listen, Paul, you are an amazing, godly man that has really put together an event that is bringing everybody from all over the country at this event with 700 plus people with dynamic speakers. And I got to tell you, man, I'm proud to be your friend, man. You're an amazing man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making an impact in this world.
So, microphone back to the interviewer. Thank you. But most people do. They have a tendency to grab it. They're like, I want that. I'm like, you can have it, Raj. So, you do something really amazing. You help people with their metabolic syndrome.
Yeah.
And most people know this as weight loss. And everybody's looking for, like, the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Well, usually the elephant in the room is in the refrigerator. Yeah. So, how do we help people with this whole concept of staying healthy with longevity around it?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I've been in the industry for many, many years, right? In the functional medicine space for a very long time. Seen so many different fad diets come in, some programs that actually work, right? And some that people are doing today. But are any of them truly sustainable, right? And we know that in order to help people, we got to get them in a certain rhythm. We got to get them in a certain mindset. We got to teach them on how to break bad habits and adopt better habits. And we got to teach them on how to strengthen their body and strengthen their mind and strengthen their being and strengthen their life, right? So what we've done with Sprint Set is we've taken a look at, all right, where do people fail? Where are their fail points, right? And also, where do doctors fail in their own practices? So when we designed Sprint Set, let's just talk about the participant first, right? Mm-hmm. What we have is called Sprint Set because we put people on sprints and sets. Sprints mean this. There's a specific list of foods that we know will help speed up the metabolism and get people to lose weight pretty rapidly, okay? So we have a whole list of a protocol that they do during a sprint. When they do that and they lose a ton of weight, then what happens is they go into a set. When they go into a set, what happens is we're resetting their weight set point. We're resetting that metabolism. We're changing that whole physiology. And then when that happens, their hormones start to go into a state of balance, blood sugar levels balance out, and you start seeing real health conditions beginning to shift, right? Mm-hmm. Now what happens is we put them on another sprint again. They lose more weight, then sets, and we continue that pattern until we get to the last area. When we do, we start understanding what their preferred foods are, what their cautionary foods are, and what their avoid foods are for a lifetime. Now what happens is that we know that people do better when they're what? When they're monitored. We know that. So what happens is we have a personal coach that monitors them on a daily basis, every single day. They're reporting their energy, their weight, their mood every single day, and we're monitoring them, and then we're coaching them, right? If somebody falls off track, we're uplifting them and getting them right back on track every single day. And that's what it's all about, right? It's about nudging people. And our coaches are trained in behavioral economics, and it's just awesome, right? It's really life-changing. Most women on our system will lose 25 to 35 pounds within the first 50 days, and the next 21 days we're resetting their entire metabolism, right? And then after that, we're monitoring them for the rest of their entire life. So they're part of a whole big community culture, where they're learning exercise tips, they're learning what other foods would work for them. They learn all about mindset, they learn about breathing techniques, they learn about everything about quality of life. Because what we teach them is, hey, life flow plus lifestyle equals a longer lasting lifespan. And that's what it's all about, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where the chiropractic message comes in as well, because we're making sure that everybody's getting checked as well chiropractically. And that's really where my heart is, right? It's how many people can get checked. And that's what happens. And they sustain the weight loss, not for a moment, but for a lifetime, baby, for a lifetime. And then for the providers, it was created for the busy doctor, by the busy doctor. So what we do is we do all the coaching for the doctors. All they essentially do is sell the program, and then we take over from there. We do all the heavy lifting for them, and they get raving fans, and they attract more chiropractic patients. They have residual passive income that's coming in consistently for them. It's just such a huge win. It's great for retention for them as well. So they do really well. But what we found is that if we're the ones doing that heavy lifting for them, it works out a lot better than them having their own coach that could leave at any point in time, and then they're who knows? They're really in trouble at that point.
So I think what Dr. Roger's saying here is so much of the success within this paradigm is making sure that you have consistency. Make sure that you have somebody to not only give you a gentle nudge when you need a little nudge, or somebody to actually put your arm around you and say, hey, man, you're doing a great job. I love and appreciate you. Yeah. And one of the things that you wanted to touch on during this interview was relationships.
That's right.
And why is relationships so important to you?
Relationships are, I think, they should be important to everybody, right? And it's about, for example, my own marriage. Like, I have an amazing wife. Her name's Christina, and I love you. You're back home. Mwah, I love you, love you, love you. And I got 3 beautiful girls, right? I have a 10-year-old Sienna. I have an 8-year-old Ella, and then I have my little baby Skyla, who's 16 months, right?
Wow.
And
Big Papa Raj.
Yeah, man, it's awesome, right? And relationships are so important because, number one, when my children take a look at how my relationship is with my wife, how important is that? You know, I want them one day when they meet a man, that they're going to meet a man that knows how to meet, you know, their love language, right? So really understanding their love language, right? Beginning to know that, right? And then if they get into arguments, you got to understand the argument language as well, right? Like knowing, hey, how do we make that right? And when you begin to understand who your partner is in life and you're able to really meet their needs, right? So, hey, is it quality time? Is it physical touch? Is it words of affirmation? Is it acts of service? Is it gifting? Like, what is it that's going to drive them? Well, I know my wife's and she knows mine. So I have a 3-way tie when I took the test, right? Right? So it's physical touch, words of affirmation, and acts of service. So sometimes if I'm working, I'm behind the computer and I'm doing things, my wife may come in and give me a tea. She knows I love tea, right? So she'll come in, she'll give me tea, and she'll give me a hug. She'll give me a kiss, right? Words of affirmation. She'll tell me I love you, right? She gives me, it's the physical touch. She gives me the acts of service, which is the tea. And then she walks away, and as she's done, she may be blowing me kisses, right? So she's meeting my love language, and I do the same for her, right? And it's so vitally important. And I was always taught by my parents. It's like, treat the people like you truly want to be treated, all right? And that's with love, and that's with respect. And it's so important. Like you and I, we were talking earlier, and I said, look, hey, when you're in a relationship, it is do something that somebody else wouldn't do. Like for my wife, like I've given her a card and I, drew in with crayons, right? And then I write I wrote many things that I love about her right in there. And then I give it to her as a gift. And that's better many times than some jewelry, so to say, right? But did I get her jewelry recently? I did, right? And she would, every time we would go somewhere, she's like, man, I really love those pearl earrings. And I kept listening and listening and listening. So on her birthday, what'd I do? I got her a set of pearl earrings, right? Why? Because she was asking for it and I was listening. And that's what a real good man will do, right? He'll listen, right? It's not about the materialistic things, but it's just about the little things, the little gestures, right? That's what it's all about, brother. And I do the same thing with everything. Like you and I, we made a relationship, right? Where, I reach out to you, you reach out to me, we connect, right? Yeah. And it's the same thing that I do with everything. Like my team, it's so important to me to put my staff first, people first. You got to love them. You got to really take care of them. And my team will tell you that. Like I really care about them. They call me at 3:00 in the morning. I'm going to be there for them, right? And I know they'll do the same thing for me, right? It's about putting people first. And when you begin to do that, that's how you have great relationships and a great abundant life, which is what people want, right?
Well, I'm really blessed to be a part of this guy's relationship because he's going to help us help him, because what we can do is drive a ton of people into these offices that you help, and so many people that he has coached into his systems. Really the limiting factor for you guys is what? More new people to help. So if we can change a limiting factor for these offices that are using your systems, now our relationship bond becomes stronger. But what we're really doing is changing the future of so many people's lives, because now we figured out 2 lanes that work, and then they coincide, then they parallel each other, and together we all rise. But the big thing is, it's not about he and I, it's about you guys out there.
That's right.
So when you have guys of integrity that have friendships and that have good relationships, you can come to say, okay, now that I know that I see this guy everywhere, and now that Dr. Roger's right next to him, and we love each other and we're friends and we support each other and we see the future together, that's when all tides rise, all boats float.
That's right,
so
that's right.
with what we're doing here, I think there's some monumental shifts that we're doing together, and maybe I'll sprint there with you, if you will.
Yep.
And I'm going to go ahead and close out if that's okay.
That's awesome.
But we love and appreciate you guys, and I just have one thing to say. You're one story away Keep hustling. We'll
Keep
see you guys on
hustling,
the next
baby.
one.
That's how we do it.